Hello everyone, and welcome back to Troubleshooter. I am the Black Shadow. This is the first part of this series that I'm recording since my move. Does not mean it's the first I've played of it since then. I have been doing a bit of off-screen work, as I said I was going to do in the last video. But it's nice to be sitting back down with an opportunity to actually play some more of this game, which I have been really enjoying. We've still got a bit of a distance to go with this one, mind you. And, well, I knew that going in. This was going to be... not a short game. So admittedly, I don't know at this exact moment recording whether this is going to be like an interlude video or if this is going to be part of whatever follows. A little unsure, but as I've mentioned, there has been some work off screen. We have refitted some characters. I've been doing a load of quests off screen. Yeah, a lot of fun stuff's happened. I probably won't be able to recount it all. I probably should have written it down really, but I could have been here probably all day if I was doing so. We'll go through the various characters. There's a couple of interesting masteries that I've come across through a couple of different means I want to show off here. And it also turns out that there's something about one of our characters that I completely missed and have been missing for about 40-45 videos. And, well, no one's commented about it yet, so I'm imagining no one is going to do so at this point. Alright then, let's get some nice relaxed music for this, shall we? I think we deserve it. So, where do we want to begin? Let's start with quests. So we have done quite a few of them off screen, mainly just like parts collections, been like a little Nagori hunt for Maximilian. Also getting hold of I think we got hold of some, like a cargo shipment for Oleg, if we served it correctly, which wasn't too bad. We have another job from actually as well, rescuing his daughter, Mickey, who has gone missing in Starlight Street, which is... not a good place to have gone, but alas. So we've got a few quests up and remaining here still. Not too many. Two rescues, which are both in the same place. Both at Starlight Junction, which is going to be fun. That's a violent case. We've got Rainbow Dorori skin, which is also a violent case. And we've got this, which is another violent case. We've got 3 of those, actually, to go. As far as the current cases we're going to be embarking upon... this I understand, yeah, so all 3 of these violent cases we've not touched before, and we do have our next quest actually at the highway service area here, which I don't know which one I'm going to do first. I might be doing this first, I probably suspect, and then we'll probably go back to the outskirt road. We're a little bit over level for this now, so I might do something about that, but we can work it on. You can put all these on challenge. Oh yeah, let's just raise all their levels up beautifully. Like, what could possibly go wrong there, right? So yeah, there's been a bit of that. As far as the characters concerned, as I did mention, characters have not been leveling at all. I have been barring that. Obviously, they've still been gaining hold of like masteries and also class experience for that's been relevant. So let's go for everyone, I guess. There's some that need a lot of talking about. So let's start off with Albus, who's not really changed very much. I have outfitted some people's equipment who's been changed a bit, so I've kind of been making lots of equipment off screen for various reasons. So we've got like some stuff that's like level 35, we've got some level 40 stuff for some people. I've even got, I think, like a spray for Rage, like level 55 or something crazy. Just stuff that I've come across over the course of time. But Albus hasn't really changed a whole lot. To be honest, I'm pretty happy with Albus is. Obviously, he's had a couple of situations where he's been, you know, murdered. But realistically, what he needs is he just needs a level for that, and he needs a level for that, and he's off and running. I just don't really see a reason to particularly change his setup hugely. I have kind of put on more of the his great swords abilities though now, so Castle Greats there. The Sword of Heart giving extra block chance. You can see here, Albus's block chance is 96%, which is crazy. And really awesome. And of course, that ties in really nicely with, of course, his mastery set, whichever one it is. Not Bullet Slice? One of the masteries, weapon blocking. So anytime he blocks an attack, he gets a time reduction of 10, which, because of sword protection, becomes 30. It's really good. But other than that, nothing huge much to change. It's just, I was just waiting for him to get his levels so he can get the extra slots to be really good here. We have got access to a couple of great sword abilities here. Traces of Blood, which is close for getting extra Blade Storm use. Blade of Destruction for guaranteed armor breaking. And Castle Break, slowing people down, which would be really useful against people that are going to block loads, that kind of sort of thing. They both require, I think, they both require the same Great Swordsman Mastery. being armor split. I don't know if Traces of Blood does, but I think due to the fact that it's, well, the only one I have got yet to put on, I think it seems a fairly reasonable chance. But yeah, he's not changed too much. I think he's happy where he is, Albus. Just needs to get the 35 and just get these extra slots if he could. Kind of similar for San as well. San's also not changed too much. He's got a couple of ancillary things, but San is just set up so crazily. I mean, the man has got 9 freaking mastery sets active. It's completely ridiculous. And we're nearly a 10th here as well. The Great Wizard Staff, reducing casting delay time even more, and giving him extra ESP power. He is still an absolute just destroyer of worlds. He's not quite as rigid as he used to be. It's the only thing you've got to be a little careful of, but that's fine. The Sword Shield only costs 1 training point. I don't think this is correct. I think they changed this. There's been some updates to the game since the last time I've played like properly, and one of them I think was to reduce this to 5%, but for whatever reason it's not happened yet. I don't know why. It's definitely in the update. But yeah, Simon's still the same. He's just an absolute destroyer of everything around him, and it is beautiful. His equipment has not changed too much. It's trying to find stuff that's decent bangles for people, but also gives them the correct SP boost, like getting lightning hit chance. It's not crucial, but it's still obviously pretty damn good. We can make some bangles, but not particularly very good ones. I've got this Mud Nagori bangle though, which I'll talk about in a moment. Irene Lion. Man, oh man. So the equipment's not changed very much. You notice he's running about 100 speed here, standard, which is pretty good. The main thing to talk about with Irene is masteries, I guess. I have now... I'm trying to remember exactly where we were here. I'm still running 2 boards, 1 villain, 1 beast board, and there are some differences. They are both based off of having both Final Flame and I think it's repetitive training. I don't think I hear Irene on the beast board because it's not as valuable, but both of them now have Final Flame. So if she goes down, she can get up, she gains overcharged, all that good stuff here. So here Irene buff here, Street Fighter. She desperately needs this, and probably also needs that as well. We're just running low on spaces. With all this ability stuff, if there was something that could like put in abilities to give me extra slots elsewhere, I would love to do that, but I don't know if it exists. Loads of stuff here as well. I have been putting in some of the martial artist stuff as well, kind of tweaking it a little bit. Releasing force for extra damage. Sorry. And rending, so she can armor break more stubborn enemies, is pretty good. But other than that, she's not changed a huge amount here. Undefeated, she's one away from, which requires veteran, which I just don't have any space for, which would be a shame because undefeated's really good. Revenge as well here. There's lots of things that I kind of want to put on. Revenge would be great to improve our counterattack stuff. Fist faster than light here. We've had this on before, but I'm not too worried about it. We've got this one here as well with full heart and full strength. We've seen this on a couple of enemies actually have this. So rending is guaranteed, and if you put a target out of action, decreases cooldowns by 1, which would be kind of cool for Irene because she's got some really good stuff. But it's 15% melee attack damage. It's pretty good. It requires something that I don't know which one it is. It's one of these. There's a few decent ones here. I just haven't got space was the problem. Strength exhaustion. This is all like counter-attack stuff, basically. Defensive. This kind of thing. This was pretty good. Neutralizing enemy force. Entire melee black attack. Blocking piece for 30%. That's pretty good. And that might well be what goes on here. And that might well be what this is. Rend, Heavy Strike. That must be Heavy Strike then. Okay, fair enough then. I've got to check out the Beast board as well, just to show this off. It's not too dissimilar. She's actually got more mastery sets on this one, interestingly. Again, because she's not using so many of her own stuff, so things kind of pair a bit better. But yeah, heavy punches on this one here for severe bruising. Revenge is on. We've got the Fight King. Block is reduced by 1%. The enemy's block is reduced by 1% for every class master, which we've got a few on, which is pretty sweet. Moving on silence here, we've also nearly got as well, which is pretty neat here, which is basically reducing the enemy's ability to block, which is pretty good. It's something that Irene does get caught in sometimes, is an enemy that blocks loads and counterattacks. He just gets into like a real melee fight and it kind of dogs it down a bit. That does happen. But again, we do need a support mastery. I don't know which one it is, though. Neutralizing enemy's force, return the enemy's force. It must be that one. But I don't have the points for it, and I can't really justify getting rid of anything else here. Strength exhaustion. I mean, the thing is, this is really good if you're blocking. You know, damage taken from like an adjacent is less than 25, 80 decreased by 10. Like, that's great for blocking, which she has a lot of. So it's kind of hard to take that off, but I could take it off and put on returning force and just have like absolutely gobs of, and just have lots of counter attack. I mean, counter attack is just like completely absurd here, but I don't know. We'll play around a bit. Oh, one more thing I want to check actually before we go to Anne here. Anne needs some discussion. Is equipment. She's still been using this general stuff that we've picked up over the course of time, but there is starting to get some equipment that is of interest to maybe consider moving. We've got this limitless glove here that gives +1 overdrive duration, which is unbelievably rare. But we're now starting to get to, you know, this is still like a level 20 glove here. We've still got this one here, picked up level 30, which is just, it's just better in all ways, extra figure, but I do lose the overcharge duration, which I do like for Irene. I mean, her overdrive is not, like, crucial. You know, it gives us, whatever the heck it is for Irene. Yeah, the thing is, she does extra damage for every fire speed she gets, so having that overdrive last longer means she is hitting harder. But is it worth sacrificing all that? I don't know. Also, having this also does drop 10 speed as well, which is a little rough. I mean, you think here 80 is 57. If I take the glove here, we're now down to 62. So that's, you know, that's 5 time units every round. That's, you know, not inconsequential. And that overdrive is pretty good. So I think for now I'm gonna keep this on, I think. But it's close. It's very close on the glove. As for the uniform as well, this is only level 15. It's pretty neat. So I've got this from Oliver. And it gives like great hit chance and like +20 vigor, and the speed is really good. But we are probably going to change it soon. I've got a couple of like higher stuff here, but we've not really found any decent uniforms. I could probably make some stuff and probably find something decent, but for now we're just going to keep what we've got here. The +5 speed on that is pretty decent. So, Anne Macy. So, go about the easy part of her, which is not very much has changed, just a bit of upgrading of equipment here. Just kind of updating some stuff, getting some new bits and pieces have been good. Now, I did mention, and as I mentioned before, there's this, which I made, the Big Mud Nagori Bangle. Now, you'll notice that statistically, it's actually not better than this heroic brace. I literally just got, like, just before finishing the last one. +30 vigor, +5 speed. It's pretty damn good here. But it does offer hit chance for all sorts of earth stuff. You're going to say, well, why is that really relevant? I mean, you're not really doing a lot of that, Anne. Well, I missed something. We all missed something. And I've not missed it with anyone else. And all the time we've spent this game, obviously, I've been exploring with everyone's classes, including Giselle. Somehow, some way, I completely forgot to do Anne's witch stuff. Just totally missed it. I realised when I was doing off-screen stuff about a week ago, just going through people's classes, like, oh wait, holy Christ, we never did this. So yeah, just totally missed it. It's kind of silly, right? This is kind of a more kind of pseudo-aggressive. It's not really too aggressive. It's more about kind of buffs and debuffs, and also a bit of extra attack power. It's a fun class, and we are going to go ahead and whack this on here, because I want to get this up to level 16, because there's, you know, there's some good stuff we have here. Also, this is how we get the aggressive special mastery as well, the Pouring Starlight Arrows, which is 12 single attacks, which is pretty awesome. But, yeah. So what I've had to do is make a completely separate board for the Witch Mastery. The White Mage has not changed very much, I don't believe. I suppose we're here. Let me just quickly check it while we're here. I don't think this has changed very much. There's a couple. Oh, there is a couple of changes actually been made. Soul Guardian I've deactivated here. This is normally we'd get Vigor from seeing people going out of action, but Anne doesn't need it. Like, she gains Vigor so quickly anyway. She's getting buffed by her own like Miracle Shield and all that sort of thing. She just doesn't need it. So she's totally fine there. There's quite a few masteries that were like one short of some, which I'm considering getting. Some I could work out, some I couldn't. We unfortunately still cannot get hold of mental stability here, which I really do want, but I can't get hold of it because I need first aid, and I still haven't found it. And I've not come across any enemy that I've mastered that has first aid, so not like I really do. But I've deactivated that, and currently I've got some pocket stuff on her, just for filling some spaces. We have got a couple of things. We've got March on her now, which is pretty good. So basically means she's going to be on patience most of the time, especially at the start, which gives us extra health, gives her extra block. This is the patience, which is part of many masteries. Willpower here, but also Bounding Leap and Bounding Stride. So she moves faster, she's not worried about any terrain changes, which is pretty useful for her as well. Which means she can get around the map fairly easily. Healing when necessary, because we're starting to get maps now, we're getting kind of very spread out, and obviously there's only so much coverage Anne can do, so that will assist that at least a little bit. But yeah, some fun stuff here to get further down the line. But as mentioned, we're currently doing witch stuff with her, so let's go get her changed over here to the witch. And we'll get hold of the witch martial board, which again, I've completely for her. Can't use Starlight Prayer on this, so I need to change our abilities slightly. We can't put that on yet. So yeah, you've got Starlight, Call of Starlight. Obviously, we've had like the Starlight Prayer, which gives the shield, or we've had the Prison, which stops someone. But the Witch has 2 extra abilities. Starlight Explosion, which deals damage and also can activate the Witch's Curse. We'll talk about that shortly. And Constricting Root, which can be used on an area, which basically means people can't move. And also decreases their block and dodging. So it's quite pesky that, but we're going to keep the explosion on for the time being. Now, as for Anne's mastery board, this is completely from scratch. So this is kind of a hybrid. There's a bit of shaman stuff. There's even a little bit of elementalist stuff, which Scion is even using, because he can use elementalist stuff, which is kind of cool. And there's a lot of fun stuff here, actually. She's got a bit more health because she obviously does a little bit more aggressive here. She's got a lot of earth stuff on her as well here. There's 3 separate earth masteries. I don't know what the 4th thing is. It's really annoying. Bright Light, Sand Castle, and a White Sandstone Food of Pause. Look at those if you so desire. There's all kinds of stuff as well. We've got Awaken here, which would be pretty good, giving just loads of overcharge stuff, which would be good for Anne, because the idea is we want to use her masteries, obviously for healing and obviously for aggression. But yeah, general stuff here, communing with the spirit. The Shining Light, which we teased in the other one, is now on, so she blinds anything that she hits. She's got plenty of health, actually, does Anne, on this set as well. She's rocking 1700 health. That's more than Albus. It's pretty good. But yeah, we also want to talk about the witch abilities here and what they do. So we've got 2 on here. We've got Witch's Jealousy. So anything she hits completely debuffs. That's pretty brutal. We already have Ray, who does that with her graffiti stuff. And Anne is a little less reliable, but there could be points where that could be pretty useful here. The real good thing, though, is the Witch's Prank. So this puts on Witch's Curses and Witch's Blessings, which have changed a little bit as well. So the Witch's Curse can put on enemies, which will go onto them when they take an attack. And at the beginning of their turn, it will change into a random debuff. Could be anything, although there is a potential that it could actually turn into a buff for them. And the Witch's Blessing is the other way around. It will typically buff you randomly, but it can occasionally do something bad. So you've got to be a little bit careful about that. It's a little funky, but, you know, it's a little bit of fun. There's also this here as well, Resting Force here, which, depending on how you hit people, will give, like, potential things. They'll Constricting Root, Wind Chain. But this isn't really that useful for Anne, so I've not really gone with it particularly as well. But yeah, it's an alright set. It's fine. She's got all the Vigor recovery she could ever want. I've got Recluse on it. Do you need Recluse? Got a Vigor recovery of 11. I'll be honest, you've got your boots giving you restoration as well. I honestly don't think you even need Recluse. I think we can just take that off here now. Is Recluse part of any set here? No. Nah, let's just get rid of that. The problem with Anne is that, like, we've got obviously all this ability stuff here, but, like, she's got loads of support points. I can't really think of good stuff to put on her. Is kind of the pain here, unfortunately. So it's like, kind of, what do you do here? It's a little tricky. But no, it's pretty good stuff here. What do I want to put on here then? Yeah, there's Soul Guy, which just don't really need. Prosperity is pretty good. What are these other things? White Heat's the blinding. Weathering here. Obviously, we also probably don't need landing a critical strike on target, decrease the SP throw, which is in theory pretty good, but Anne can't really do that, so we're just going to unequip that for now. She doesn't really require that. And Earth Magician as well, which gives her extra damage if she hits it. It's just like, fine, what the hell, right? So I've got some points to put on you, actually. I don't know what to do with them. Maybe I do put that on here. I could put on some other stuff as well. Healing Wave, maybe. Healing Wave is still pretty damn useful. Just decreasing ATs by 10 for people. Let's go ahead and whack that on here. Let me just make this very quickly. There's also been some interesting, yes, definitely very interesting masteries to pick up as well. I'll quickly go through these while we're here. There's some specifically to other characters I'll talk about. There's two I want to make a mention of specifically. And I have to go in here. So the first one I want to make a mention of is... which one? Deep Sea. Deep Sea Escape. So this is actually one that's hidden in the game. And you may look at it and think, what the hell's going on? Look at this. If your action time ever exceeds 300, you take the turn immediately. Pretty cool, right? I got this because I had a situation with Irene where she was getting dogged by like 3 Spoonists. They're all like fighters and blocking, and she got so far down in the AT. I was like, oh, okay, well, you've done well. Here's a mastery to deal with this in the future. I'm like, thanks for that. I'm sure there's probably some mastery set involved in this, which maybe reduce it to, like, say, 200 or something, and it cycles around. It's pretty cool that it exists, but how often you're able to use that is variable, and I don't know if that's really a good idea trying to go into that, but it's a thing. The only other thing that's also worth mentioning is kind of a derivative from the Phoenix stuff, is I finally got hold of Second Heart. We actually got a random information mastery filling up for Sao Hong, the former ball leader, and one of his abilities he has is Second Heart, which you might remember. So we now have access to this. I've made it. I haven't given it to anyone yet. I don't really know quite what to do with it. Irene's already got Phoenix, which is specialized for fire SPs. Maybe I could give this to Albus, but it's expensive. I'd have to consider reworking it, so... You know, it's a thing. I'm happy that it's a thing, but, you know, it's something that has to be considered, you know? Careful healing. Again, you see, first aid. I so desperately want first aid, but I just can't quite do it, which is really annoying. And actually, at the moment, does actually have magic acceleration on with this build, which is a thing. She doesn't really heavily need it, but she's got it, so I guess that's nice. It's a thing, everyone. I could give you more training points. You don't really have to. The thing is, all of her stuff is like fairly cheap, so I don't really need a ton of training points here, so it's like not even worth it. Have Distortion Field. And have, like, something else. I don't know. What would be fun as a support thing? Do you want to give you some item stuff? Might give you some item stuff. Ready to go could actually be useful for you, because you're always going to be in cover. Sure, what the hell. Have ready to go. Merry Christmas. So, yeah, we're going to get Anne's witch stuff mastered out. And then when that's done, we will return back to the White Mage. I think the White Mage is far better. Just it's so really hard to kind of do a lot about it. And while this is kind of a bit pseudo, and there's some fun stuff that it's doing, it's not quite as effective. So we will not, we'll change that back. But yeah, got a couple of stages of her being the witch. Haizigawi has not changed particularly, other than just some equipment upgrading. No, not really much has changed. I've gone back to making him a ranger as opposed to the sweeper. I've gone back to this. It's pretty close. Sweeper and ranger are both pretty decent. It kind of depends slightly what you want to do. One of the things that with Heising is he has not got like 2200 health anymore. He has lost a bit of that with some changing of equipment and mastery sets, which just isn't giving him as much HP. He was getting a lot of HP for various equipments, and he's not really getting them on. He also had like 4 mastery sets that were giving him health, so currently he doesn't have those on. You know, Iron Man was 300 health, Fire and Resistance is 300 health. Both of those currently are not on here, so that's where a lot of their health is gone. Because I've given him other stuff here, base defense, and revenge shots. A revenge shot you might remember Isaac having way back, which basically allows him to counterattack other people with shooting. rather than normal counter, which is obviously melee. So pretty neat here. There is some good stuff though. I've got him running silent bullets instead of poison stuff. The poison stuff was cool, but it was causing a lot of issues for my team. Silent stuff is very different here. Shooting the silence, if you hit them, they get silent. It means that they can't use ESP abilities, which obviously for sorcerers is brutal. It also means they can't request assistance from nearby allies, which is kind of not a big deal, but it might actually make more difference than you'd imagine. So we've got that on there. And there is loads of mastery sets here. So this is the end. This is the poison stuff. We've got I Resist here, which needs, I think, Resistance Shot, which improves various bits and pieces here as well. You Can't Do Anything needs anti-ESP bullets. I think these are things that are Ranger masteries, but I've got to fight some Rangers and hope that it drops, basically. But some very cool stuff here. But yeah, survival training, Will to Survive, which I think both, that's on 3 sets. That's on, well, this is on 2 sets. It's technically on just the 1, but it's part of Farm Resistance. I would love to get some extra defense spaces on Heising. I think it'd be really good, especially with Muscle Armor and Indomitable Will. Farm Resistance is good to know that he's got it, and Iron Man, just for the 300 health with the Muscle Armor, is pretty damn good. So he's not quite as tanky. He has been critted like in one shot a couple of times off screen, which is concerning, but there's not a lot I can really do about that, you know? So you kind of just sort of shrug. He doesn't have chain fire on anymore. I've taken it off Heising. Just Cell has that. I didn't think both people needed it, so I think it's fine for him. But Heising's not looking too bad. He's very solid. He has been murdering a lot of dudes, though. It's been pretty decent. As for Ray here, Ray has finished off both her Grenadier and Alchemist stuff here, and after plenty of thinking, I'm actually going to have her stay as Alchemist for the time being. It's very close. It should be noted Grenadier gives her more movement and better speed, which is obviously pretty nice. Like, statistically, Grenadier is probably better than Alchemist, but Alchemist has an interesting side effect in that with Alchemy, Ray is never running out of vigor. Ever. It's basically impossible. Why was it impossible? Well, let me explain to you. And for that, we need to go to her abilities. We've got various abilities, obviously the healing sprays. Only allows one of these instead of 2. The awakening spray in Fury, really cool. Vigorous sprays also has some pretty good uses. And he's got like the Heat Ice Mist, the Aesthetic Cloud. Basically, Ray is now just a murderer. Well, that's not quite the way I put it, but she is now just fully aggressive. And that is because of this here, Trance, which I saw earlier and never put on, didn't get round to it. Trance forcibly awakens the target's body to gain the overcharge state and trigger trance. When you're in trance, 10 vigor recovery, 20 speed, 200 armor, 200 resistance, 10% attack damage, and every time you if you put a target out of action using an attack ability, your overcharge continues. And what I've done is I've gone all in on this with her abilities, and we have completely changed this around here. If I go to her masteries, my apologies. And what I've done is I have basically given her all sorts of stuff here. So she's got Limit Break here for extra SP, which is good for her because she gets extra hit chance the further that is. And that is now part of Break Through the Limit. So she has 200 SP as opposed to the standard 100, and her overcharge duration begins at 4. Overcharge makes it 3, the set makes it 4. So basically the idea is when things start getting like into the meat of it, I trance Ray and she just becomes basically overcharged for half the stage, and she just keeps, as long as she's killing things, she keeps being overcharged, she keeps getting that massive hit bonus and just is an absolute force. It's risky because she's not particularly durable. You've got to be a little bit careful about that, but she can be absolutely brutal. So I've gone all in on this stuff, which is pretty fun stuff here. She's got loads of sets here as well. Break Through the Earth for decreasing cover effect. I'll get to this in a second. Sky Penetration, Piercing Battlefield for Trance the Wind, which is good, gives extra speed and move distance, which is just raised so fast. Positioning, I've also gotten her as well, which allows her to get a reduction time, a huge reduction time for if she just still sounds elevated positions, which is a little bit waste on her. There's something I've noticed about this game with speed. So if I go to this quickly, so she's at 87 speed, which isn't the most. When you're getting reductions to your action time, if you're getting reductions to your the let's say I'm playing as Ray, And I'm going through, and I'm like doing actions like I'm getting run, I'm getting throwing reductions, I'm getting reductions to her time units. As long as it's actually her active turn, it only goes down so far. I think it's about like 35 or so, 35, 40, somewhere in that range. At which point, anything else that would take it under is just lost. And the way to, and this is basically done, so you can't just like, you know, if you have someone at like 40 speed, or have like 50 time units or whatever, some crazy speed, and you're constantly reducing like 30, 40 every action, in theory, Rey could just keep taking turn after turn after turn after turn, and just completely abuse the system. So there is a hard limit of about 40 or so, which means that admittedly I don't actually get a ton of use out of positioning currently, and I might well drop it. But positioning stuff just has some decent stuff, you know, crit hit chance by 10, which is part of break for the limit. Position advantage, which is part of these various sets here. Circle 6 so far is unique to positioning. But the thing is, it's so good. 3% damage dealt every distance, which of course is great for Rey because she's a thrower. And she throws stuff from a distance that gives her more damage. And blind spot as well, which I might take off here. If you're attacked by an enemy, hit chance decreased by 2% per distance, which obviously positions nicely with this. But I might take that off. I'm undecided. Positioning isn't really helping her, being honest. Position advantage is just, it's giving a hit chance. But we're not getting a whole lot of value out of that, admittedly. So that's a thing. Other things to be noted as well. I would like to get out of... She's got extreme speed off, which is part of these two sets. But unfortunately, she's only got 4 basic slots here, which is brutal. And I'd love to get hold of more of these. But the thing to worth note is that, yeah, Rey is an alchemist, which gives her access now to some really, really cool abilities. One of which... I also, equivalent exchange, I've realized how that works now. Yeah, when acquiring loot, so this is not from necessarily picking up items from item chests I fought in the previous mission. This is for like if you pick up loot during the game, so you know, defeating enemies, taking items off of them, defeating beasts and getting hold of like skins and stuff. It will change it into any random item. It might change it into an item of a similar class. It might give you a better class, you know, just it's a basic reroll of the dice, which is nice. But yeah, making chemical concoctions is something unique to this whole class here, and is part of the reason why she's so destructive. So basically how this works is you trigger this, and anytime that you move, anytime it's the start of your turn, anytime you make an attack that isn't a throwing, and anytime someone attacks you, you get a level of chemical concoction. And what happens is that as this gets higher and higher, you do more damage. Up to 10 levels of this, in which case at 10 levels there's an explosion on Rey and the count goes back down. But basically for every level of this you gain, you get 1 extra vigor recovery and you get 20% attack damage. So this combined with like trancing, and also the fact that I've also buffed this as well. If I go to, I keep doing that. A couple of mastery sets here for the alchemist here, which completely bust this. Shake it mainly. So now, quick reaction also gives unstable concoctions. That's lightning reflexes, and also gives extra concoction beginnings. It's now 2 at every level. You can see how it all works there. Means that you're regularly having 4, 5, 6, 7 levels of this almost every turn. So you just hit so hard. It is absolutely brutal. It's dangerous. You gotta be careful. Obviously, if you don't think she's gonna make an attack, then obviously you need to deactivate that, and you just gotta keep an eye on it a little bit. It can get out of control, and you don't want her getting exploded. But it should be fine. But the other thing that's worth noting is that when you start messing around with the alchemist stuff, you can then get hold of a special mastery, which is this, the explosive compound. Which you can make once you're making the chemical concoction stuff here. So this basically, if you remember the firebolt stuff that Irene had way back, it's basically that, but for Rey specifically in throwing, and it's buffed. Yeah, 200 damage extra on anything that she hits. It's pretty good, everyone. It's pretty damn good. Rey is she's scary. She is very scary. She's got some fun equipment as well. Should be noted as well. She's the one who's got... Yes, I've got like some sprays. This is a level 50 spray. I've just been making all sorts of stuff here on the side here. This is, you know, 45. Some cool stuff here. So this is giving like extra sight. This is giving HP. You can see the various buffs here. What she's got though, this invisibility spray is just so damn good. It's going to be really hard to pass this. She has also still got the Chaos Brush jacket. However, this is starting to see competition. This is a level 15. What's helping is that the Vigor and Vigor Recovery specifically, and the fact it's got plus 5% block on the health. But we are starting to come across jackets which are probably just better in the long run here. And again, she doesn't need the Vigor Recovery at this build because like she's kind of generating herself from being tranced, which means she doesn't spend Vigor. And like as her chemical concoction increases, like she regains the Vigor back anyways. So it's very possible this jacket is going to be retired very shortly. There's a lot of good candidates here. Haven't decided which one, however, yet. But yeah, it's been good. Probably getting changed though, unfortunately. But hey, you know, a lot of fun stuff. Ray is really good. Also, as well, she's got 12 move distance standard. It's pretty awesome. And then we have Giselle. So, we haven't obviously done much Giselle on screen. A lot of it has been spent off screen, me kind of learning her. I have maxed out her sniper stuff as well as her hunter ability as well. The hunter is basically more revolving around doing stuff with your beasts, setting traps, that sort of thing. Being honest, it's just not really my playstyle, and it's not one that really suits me. It gives it extra movement around though, which is kind of nice, but I prefer just having a straight sniper and just raining destruction on the field. So that's the way we're going to go here, I think, end of the day. Also, going sniper gives her access to both heart piercing as well as battlefield splitting shots, so I can pick and choose which one of these I want to use here, which both are, they're both pretty good, I'm not going to lie. She's still got a wool coat for now. We'll actually have that for a while. She's running the Cyrus sniper here. Looks kind of weird, but it's pretty good, everyone. Her hit chance is over 100%, which is kind of absurd here. And here's how her masteries look. Oh, let's do abilities first, actually. Sorry. Side shot's still on. Flare reloading. So here's all the traps, which I haven't admittedly used. I don't really know if I would use them often. Maybe, but the thing is, we're not really doing like defense missions and stuff, so like these have pretty limited use. I've also taken off confirm target because I'm never using it, folks. Like, I tell myself I'm using it and I just never do, so it's like, yeah, okay, whatever. So yeah, that's a thing. I've also got on her reinforcing scope for now, just again boosting her stuff here. I might take this off though, but like this is okay, but I don't think I'm gonna use it that often. Seasoned Hunter isn't the worst, which would give me extra use for flares and stuff. But again, it's like, it's not a lot of stuff I'm really using. But this is for like this and traps, but I'm not really using it either, so I'll just whack this on and call it a day. Gives her a sight of 15 in the day. She's actually got amazingly more sight at night than the day, which I don't know how that works, but apparently it does. Don't ask me. I got nothing. Anyways, masteries. So this actually stands here. It is very heavy attack and ability, as you would expect here. Makes obviously rough sense. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff here. Marksmanship and stuff here. So there's the sniper ability we've got her, which I think is the max for the sniper class or thereabouts. So yeah, 20 vigor, sights, that sort of thing. We've got her precision sniping, which is her own personal ability. So this allows you to choose what part of the opponent you're going to attack, which will give you various benefits, as you can see here, which is kind of neat. I like the ability, that's a thing. And she's got some various bits and pieces, just kind of generally helping about here. She's got I Know It All already, which we actually had on Heising for a while, actually, which allows her to Overwatch much stronger. I haven't been evoking a ton with Giselle, but there's times where it's useful. And obviously that good stuff here. Personal march, you can see she has chain fire, which is really good for when she goes into overdrive, so that I can obviously mix that up with like her reload ability, so I can basically go into, I can reload, get all my cooldowns immediately negated, and just go absolutely ham on the enemy. It's really awesome. And You're Already Dead just means anytime she kills someone, she gets 80 reduction, which is really good because Giselle's speed is kind of rough. So she does benefit a lot from anything that can improve that situation, as you can see here. Makes sense, right? She's got various bits and pieces that I would like to get hold of as well. We've got a headshot mastery here, but I don't really headshot a whole lot, and I don't like 1x1. It's not really good, I don't think, so I don't want to put that on here. High ground sniping needs Highland covering, which I don't know what that is, but makes use of her base defense stuff, which is pretty good. I think we've got this on Heising as well at the moment. So whenever you attack somebody can take cover, you can seal. It's pretty damn good. Shadow in the Dark here requires shadow sniping, which is something that we do actually have access to here. So putting a target 10 tiles away from you out of action can confuse enemies or make enemies around them go slower, which is kind of cool. But I can't make it. I need containing attack. I haven't found it. By the way, yeah, that's pretty good. Just hitting a target reduces their time by 10. That's pretty solid. That'd be pretty good for like bosses and stuff. We also have this as well, the Ruler of the Battlefield. So this has the sniper ability we've got. Creating opportunity, which is pretty cool here. Bringing a target out of action decreases action time for anyone adjacent by radius of 3 tiles with 20%, which is pretty good. Predictive Fire is also alright. Yeah, just ignore dodge and block chance of enemies. I mean, that's pretty damn awesome. And that also needs fire support, which is something that I do have the ability to research, I think. Let me just check. Here it is. Yeah, it's expensive, though, is the problem. We've seen this before, though. So the idea of this is that if you've just ended your turn and one of your allies attacks someone within her range of sight, which of course is enormous, and you don't kill them, she will then shoot. You can only ever do this once per, like, off her turn until he gets back round to you. But Rule of the Battlefield increases that to 4. It's pretty damn awesome. It does mean you've got to be a little bit careful, though, because, of course, fire support does take AT is a problem, so you've got to obviously supplant that with stuff like you're already dead and that kind of thing, maybe positioning to kind of... So you're not losing tons of time. In fact, both of those you'd be gaining time. So potentially really strong, but again, it's expensive, and all of this stuff is being used. Giselle just needs levels. She needs this slot, she needs that there, and she'll be pretty happy. But we're not quite there yet. Can I even make this? That would, that'd explain a lot, wouldn't it? Yes, it would. But yeah, like I said, the team's looking pretty decent. It'd be nice to start getting the level. They've all been hovering around this 32 to 34 range, so all this 35 equipment I've got lying about isn't really... I can't use at the moment, but it's nice that I've made some stuff so that it's ready to rock and roll, which is good. Okay, so that's all done. Is there anything else I want to talk about in this video while we're here? I don't think there's a ton of stuff to talk about. Other than obviously going through equipment and stuff like that, inventory. There's not a huge amount of stuff. That's mainly it, really, just all the characters and stuff. I am also considering, one more thing I'll talk about quickly before we move on, is changing Albus's sword here. We've had this Eluote we got from Ralph ages ago. And it's pretty damn good, you know, the speed's useful, but it's the hit chance, the critical damage plus 80%, 50% block, and the slashing critical chance. Like, it's just so good. And also the fact it gives +1 block for every applied swordsman in Great Swords and Master, which Albus has... He's got a few of those. So the question is, like, at what point do I change? I did actually completely random. I got another Eluote here, which is not really any particular different. This one gives +48 SP though, so this is the old one. But I actually randomed in a loot collection a sword from Pink Horn here, who's also level 15, and this is pretty good actually. +150 ESP power would be nice, because currently we do have a magic attack on Albus, but it's kind of cruddy. I might put this on. We do lose 15% block though, which is... I don't know if I can justify that. It's pretty damn significant. Also, you'll notice this is a different sword here. So this gives +3% damage for every Elementalist and Magic Knight Mastery, of which we... Yeah. If I was going to go Albus down that school of stuff, then definitely 100%, but I've got him as a great swordsman, and I have no real interest on sending him down this route. I don't think I need to. So, yeah, it's a cool blade, but it's not really going to be of enough use to me. Like, I'm getting, like, nearly 30% block off this sword. 15 base, and then the extra percent for all those masteries. It's just so much block. I mean, 96% block. And his base is 21. That is nuts. So that is all that. But I think that's pretty much it, basically. As I said, I've done loads of crafting. There's all sorts of stuff I can craft now, which is cool. And we've not got really too much else to do at the moment. Some buying of stuff, some Valkyrie things I've bought. But pretty much everything is pretty much good to go here. Not really much else to show. Oh, one more thing I will actually show off, and then we will get going, is go to the activity report for our current list of stuff. This is how we stand here. We stand to make a lot of money. It's pretty good. Silver Cloud, of course, we are fixed to. Put this on to just whole high as well. This has also been redone, by the way. The update has kind of given more information, so you've kind of got like a bit of tight sort of information on the side about what things do, which is kind of nice, and whatever else. So we've got Silver Cloud here. Magenta Street is still ours as well, with the information dealing, which is pretty useful. It's giving me access to some kind of cool stuff. And also, yeah, all the information is definitely useful for like getting hold of some tricky masteries. And we have the Ashen Harbour here, which is currently running the Labour Union, which gives me industrial reputation everywhere, and also giving me an absolute bucket ton of money. It's pretty good. I am considering moving something, like maybe dropping Magenta Street and going maybe to like the Metrodium or something, which also gives an absolute bucket ton of money. But the motivation points decretion I don't care about, and I've already got one for that, and it wouldn't help with this at all. Also, like, there's nothing here that's useful. The extra information is pretty good. Pugo Street is an option, but doesn't really give me any real money, and these aren't particularly good either. And unfortunately, the only one is Angry Barrel, which actually wouldn't be too bad, give me extra jurisdiction fund. And I'd still probably be like on the Merchant Union here as well. But unfortunately, I need to be like Reputation 8 to get this. But I might move Magenta Street to the Angry Barrel and go into the Northern District. I haven't fully decided yet. We might do so. Either way, though, we're getting loads of money, which is good. Although money is coming and going very fast here. If I go to this, for example, you see I've currently got 11 grand. But that's only because of a recent payment. Like, I've been running pretty threadbare, to be honest. Alright, anyway, so that's basically everything here. You know, people I'm happier with. Like freaking Dimitri, I'm now honored with, stuff like that. There's been some improvements as well on bonds of people. I'm not going to go into these in detail, just making a mention that some of these. I have my first Exalted, by the way, which is Anne and Scion. They've actually got 3 tiers: reliable, observation, and cover. Cover, by the way, is awesome, really strong. The other thing that's worth noting is if I go to Ray, actually, the other one I'd say is pincer movement can also be really good for people that have projectile attacks, specifically like Ray and Albus do. I don't know if Ray and Heising have it, but they've got cover and observation. But I'd have to cancel the bonding, which will drop their level down one, which I don't want to do. So I think it's fine. But that is basically how everything stands here, really. I guess this is going to be an interlude video. I should have expected as such. So, yeah. It'd be nice to actually get some stages done. I've done, say, lots of off-screen, just clean up all sorts of bits and pieces. But yeah, we've got 3 violent cases, and we've got the Dustwind Highway, which is going to be our next location. Worth noting as well, Starlight Junction. Jane's also there too. But yeah, 2 civil rescues there. Oof. That could be rough, but we'll work as we go. First things first, though, we're going to head to the service area and work out what we're going to do. I think the last we did plot-wise was, man, I don't even remember now. Jeez, it's been a while. Case record. We finished chapter 4. Oh yeah, set in the past. We had the police training. I think this was the police training. Yes, it was. Yeah, the police training was pretty fun. And then, yeah, the White Tigers are, they're pretty bad. Giselle joining, and then, look at this murderous scene. You know what? That's pretty accurate. These things wrecked me. Oh, yeah. Anyways, Chapter 5 awaits, and we shall delve into that next time. So thanks for listening, and hope you've learnt some bits and pieces on the way, and we'll rock and roll with the story next video. Cheers, everyone. I'll see you then.